Thank you. So Claudia is a holistic wellness and burnout prevention coach with an expertise in stress resilience. She is an Amazon bestselling author, an international award-winning speaker, course creator, and entrepreneur. Claudia is mom to 2 boys, including Nico, who's severely autistic. And when Nico was 2, she left her law career to become Nico's full-time caregiver. In the process, she suffered from caregiver burnout and PTSD. Claudia has overcome many challenges and now helps others to do the same. So thank you so much for joining us today, Claudia.
It is a pleasure and an honor to be addressing you all, because I know that, I know how the stressors that parents with special needs children suffer, and it is my pleasure to be here and share with you not only the stressors and what we go through, but also some of the strategies that we can use in order to overcome or at least prevent burnout, and try to be in peak physical, mental, and emotional state to parent our children with grace. So I am going to, so should I share my screen? Yeah.
That'd be great.
Okay. So I'm going to, hang on, view, and we're going to start the slideshow, and I'm going to start back. How do I go back? Hang on, here. Okay. All right. So, preventing caregiver burnout, empowering special needs parents and caregivers to make self-care a priority. So as I was saying, special needs parents and caregivers are running a marathon. It's a marathon of chronic stress every single day, as a mom, as your parents who are parents of children with special needs, every single day something happens, and it's a stressful situation. So chronic stress and the special needs journey. So the research has shown over and over that special needs parents and caregivers have a reduced quality of life. In a 2009 study at the University of Wisconsin-Madison showed that stress levels experienced by autism moms and parents whose kids have high levels of behavior problems were similar to those of soldiers in combat. Research has also confirmed that special needs parents and caregivers experience mental health issues such as chronic stress, depression, burnout, and anxiety. Now, this chronic stress can cause multiple diseases such as high blood pressure, cardiovascular disease, suppression of the immune system, headaches, and migraines. Now, there are multiple stressors that we have to deal with. It's an all-encompassing role. As parents, we're not only parents, but sometimes we're the therapists. We are the speech pathologists. We are the educators, the advocates, the program intervention managers, and this role can be exhausting. We also have to deal with social isolation and stigma. We're constantly worried about our children's behaviors, what others may think of these behaviors, and this often translates into social isolation from our friends and sometimes even from family members. Also, there's poor sleeping habits. Research has estimated that between 40 to 80% of children, young adults with autism, have very poor sleeping habits. One study concluded that such sleep disorders in the child and adults have significant effect on parental stress as well. It elevates the cortisol. There is the financial burden aspect. Due to the lack of available services, parents have to reduce their workload or even quit their jobs to care for their children. Like in my case, I had to quit my law career to care for my son because there were not very many educational alternatives for him. Now, this leads to an overall reduction of family income and financial strain. And then there's also, the feeling of loss and grief, unexpected child loss associated with shock, denial, fear. We don't know what's going to happen to them when we pass away, guilt, anger, sadness. All this takes a huge emotional toll. And experiences all these stressors simultaneously can only lead to one thing, and that can be burnout, caregiver burnout. Now, what are the characteristics of caregiver burnout? First, there is chronic stress. Caregivers often experience prolonged periods of stress due to the demands of caregiving, which can manifest in physical symptoms such as headaches, fatigue, and insomnia. There is also emotional exhaustion. Continuously providing care can deplete caregivers emotionally, leading to feelings of sadness, irritability, or sense of hopelessness. They may also experience a loss of empathy or compassion over time. There is also something that is called depersonalization. Caregiver burnout can cause individuals to develop a detached or cynical attitude towards their caregiving responsibilities and the individuals they care for. This can lead to a decrease in the quality of care provided. There is also a decreased sense of accomplishment. Despite their efforts, caregivers may feel ineffective or inadequate in the role, especially if they're unable to meet all the needs of their care or of the care of the recipient, or if they perceive that their efforts is unappreciated. There's also, of course, the physical symptoms. Caregiver burnout can manifest in physical ailments such as headaches, digestive issues, or even chronic conditions exacerbated by stress. The caregivers neglect their own health needs, and this can further exacerbate their symptoms. So here, I'm coming here to share with you some of the best strategies that I myself, I developed my own framework as I was coming out of caregiver burnout. And now these are the strategies that I have found that are the best. I mean, some of the best strategies for us to take care of our own needs while also caring for our children with grace. So before that, I just want to share a little bit about my story. Give me a second. So this is me. This is here on the top bottom are my kiddos. This is Nico, the one with the ear protectors. This is Alex. I just to tell you a little bit about my story. So when my son Nico was 2, he was diagnosed with autism. And I was, at the time, I was a labor and employment lawyer. And so he was diagnosed with autism. And initially I was just going to take a 1-year sabbatical to put in place his program intervention and to hire different educators and things like that. And what was supposed to be a 1-year sabbatical turned into years. I had to abandon my career because of the severity of Nico's autism, also the lack of educational alternatives, and last but not least, the lack of compassion of the law profession. So I became my son's full-time caregiver, and I became not only the mom, but also the program intervention manager, the speech therapist, the psychologist, the advocate, et cetera. And although I love my role, I burned out. I lost myself. I lost my identity. I lost my physical, mental health. And I lost my dreams, my career aspirations. I completely lost myself. And it was only when Nico was about 9 years old that I had an epiphany that put me on a path to making self-care a non-negotiable priority in my life. What I realized that as an autism mom to a severely autistic child who is not going to be autonomous at all, who is going to be dependent on his mother, his parents for the rest of his life, I needed to take charge of my own health. I could not be, my life would be a marathon of chronic stress, and I had been neglecting my physical, mental, and emotional health, and I could not go on this path. So I decided to take charge and put my own oxygen mask first. I needed to make a radical change in order to have the vitality, the energy, and the mental strength to endure the long-term caregiving journey. And that's when I decided to start changing my life. I became hungry for information and knowledge. I went on a quest to making self-care a non-negotiable priority in my life. And I took courses, I went to seminars, was coached by mentors in different aspects, whether it was stress management, mindset optimization, anything having to do with health and wellness. I went from someone who could not run for 2 minutes to running 23 marathons, and I completely transformed my life. And so I came up with a framework that I now call the H3MJPC Self-Care and Stress Resilience Blueprint, which is a collection of those strategies, the strategies that helped me transform my life and that I now share with clients all over the world. So H3MJPC stands for, the H is to boost our health. M is to move our body. We all talked about moving our bodies. The M, to reconnect with ourselves via the power of mindfulness. The M, empowering our mindset daily. The J, to journal, to process our emotions. The P, to finding a passion to relax and recharge. The C, to nurture and optimize our circle of support. So I'm going to share with you in detail a little bit more of this different strategies. So again, this is a step-by-step system of self-care habits, routines, and coping mechanisms that allow special needs parents and caregivers and anyone to empower our bodies and our minds to bounce back quickly from stressful situations and setbacks, and to be unstoppable in all areas of our life. So let's go and look at this different. First, before we look at the strategies, let's look at what self-care is. Let's define self-care. So self-care, according to the dictionaries, is any activity that we do intentionally in order to take care of our physical, mental, and emotional health. It is the practice of taking an active role in protecting one's own well-being and happiness, particularly in times of stress. Now, I wanted to share this quote by Eleanor Brown. She says, "Rest and self-care are so important. When we take time to replenish your spirit, it allows you to serve others from the overflow. You cannot serve from an empty vessel." And this is so key for anyone, especially for parents of children with special needs. We need to make sure that we replenish our own cup so that we can be the best caregivers that we can be. Because otherwise, I mean, I can tell you from my own experience, I was a burned out mom trying to take care of my son. I was not the best caregiver that I could be. So it is really essential that we take care of ourselves. Now, there's 3 pillars of self-care: is the physical health, emotional wellness, and mental wellness. And I have realized that in order for us to make sure that we're sticking to our self-care plan, this plan needs to be consistent. So do a little bit every day. It needs to be holistic. So taking into consideration, the 3 different areas, whether it's the physical health, but also the mental and emotional. It needs to be intentional. We talked about writing it up, writing it down into our schedule. It needs to be flexible meaning that some days we may not be able to do our self-care, but that doesn't mean that the next day you won't. So I call this flexible consistency. It needs to be unique to your own needs, your own schedule, and your own passions as well, and it needs to be non-negotiable. Now, let's talk about the different strategies. So boosting our health, it's the basic. Boosting our health is really taking care of the body, because the body is our temple. So making sure that we're taking care of the body. So from the nutrition. So we talk about, one of the things that I suggest to my clients is to start the morning with a warm glass of water with freshly squeezed lemon juice. This is good for the digestion. Aim for a balanced diet that will give us the nutrients it needs to function correctly. If we are on the go, and this happens a lot with us busy people, make sure that we have some healthy snacks with us, so that we're not stuck going to the convenience store. And also, a big habit that I suggest to my clients is to incorporate meal preparation and to make it a self-care habit. So meal prep on the weekends, if you can take a couple of hours during the weekend to meal prep. You can meal prep, you can prepare maybe 2 or 3 meals that you can eat, just reheat in the evening during the week. That will take away the stress of washing pots and pans during the week, especially in the evening. So that's for the nutrition. Then hydration. It's key. A lot of us forget to hydrate. I remember that when I was that stressed, burned out autism mom, I would go on drinking coffee only. I would have coffee and I completely forget to drink water. So, and water, just, a plain glass of water is key for our energy. So aim to drink between 6 and 8 glasses of water every day. To remind yourself to drink regularly, you can buy yourself a big bottle of water that you can carry, or you can also use a timer on your phone so that it rings every 2 hours, and then you are reminded to drink regularly. And then, of course, sleep is key, because when we don't sleep enough, the hormone cortisol, our stress hormone, it's elevated, and it completely dysregulates our hormones. So aim to get between 6 and 8 hours of sleep. Very important to avoid exposure to screens for at least 60 to 90 minutes prior to bedtime. Also, try to establish a calming evening routine, where where the key is that when you are in your bed sheets, that you are completely calm and that you're not tossing and turning. So it could be, an hour prior to your bedtime, maybe do some yoga, some stretching, maybe taking a bath, reading a book, journaling, doing a meditation app. So the idea is that, that hour before, you're really calming that nervous system. Then, of course, moving your body. What can I say? Moving your body. This saved my life from burnout. It really saved my life from burnout. I started going on 10-minute walks with my autistic son's guide dog, and those turn into jogging, and then running longer and longer. But it was really going on walks, daily walks. And I heard a lot of you are go on walks and keep going, because it's one of the greatest exercises. And of course, the research is clear. It's clear that regular aerobic exercise helps with stress management. It also boosts the body's ability to deal with mental tension, anxiety. Exercising is invigorating, it's empowering, and it's not only good for the body, but good for the mind. Here are some tips to help you get started with exercise: going on 15-minute walks, doing fitness YouTube videos. Now it's so easy. You have YouTube, you have apps that you can do any type of fitness that you want. You can dance, go on hiking, cycling, etc. But move your body at least 15 minutes per day. That's what I tell my clients. Then habit number 3 is to calm your mind via mindfulness. Now, a lot of people think that we need to be a meditation master to be able to take advantage of mindfulness. And it could be, it's not, can it be further from the truth? Mindfulness is when we are in tune into what we're sensing in the present moment. So it can be anytime, anywhere. What we want to do is focus on the senses, the sights, the smells, the sounds, the textures, the movement. And when we're doing that, when we're focusing on that, our mind relaxes and detaches from the daily stresses. And mindfulness has been found by scientific research to be a key element in stress reduction and overall happiness. Now, how can you get started with mindfulness? You can do some deep belly breathing. There's a lot of videos on YouTube of how you can do deep belly breathing. You can do a 5-minute guided meditation with an app. There is one of the ones that I use is a Calm app. There you can do some yoga. And what I like, and it's actually how I started my fitness journey, was going on 10 to 15-minute mindful walks, where I'm just there, just walking, but really getting into the senses, the sights, the smells, my stride. And this really allowed me to reconnect with myself. Because when I was, when I was so burned out, I was completely, I didn't know who I was anymore. And just going on this mindful walks allowed me to reconnect with myself. The next strategy or habit is to preserve a positive mindset, a positive and strong mindset. And how can we do that? There's, different ways. One of the ways that I've learned, and this, I think I got it from Tony Robbins. One of the things that he talks about a lot is how to optimize our focus. And there's 3 ways to focus on what we have. So focus on gratitude, and it can be as easy as I'm grateful that I'm alive. I'm grateful that I can go for a walk. I am grateful that I have food and shelter. I'm grateful that my kids are healthy. Focus on what matters. What are your priorities? What are your priorities or the needle movers for the day? And then another one that has been key for me for reducing my anxiety, because when I was that burned out mom, one of the things that would keep me up at night, every night, was thinking, what is going to happen to my son, Nico, my autistic son, when I pass away? That would literally keep me up at night. And it was only when I realized that, I need to focus on what I can control. What can I control now? What I can control now. What I can control now is that he's a happy boy, that he's going to school, and that he's doing things that empower him. So those are the things that I can control. I cannot control the future. So this is really it's a mindset shift to really focus on what you can control, what you can do now, and stop dwelling on the past and stop being paralyzed by future anxieties and fears. The other way to control our mindset, or to develop a bulletproof mindset, is to feed our mind with positivity, standing guard at the door of our mind always. So, making sure that whatever comes into your mind is not making you more anxious or more stressed out. One of the things that I do, for example, I watch the news, but I do not binge on the news, because I know some of my clients binge on the news because they want to just detach from the craziness. But binging on the news can make you stressed out. So make sure that you're protecting that mental space. Also, another thing that I do personally, and that I suggest to my clients, is to listen to inspiring podcasts or shows, or to read books, or to listen to audiobooks on personal growth, to listen to TEDx talks, or anything that is going to help us grow and evolve. It's good food for our mental, our mindset. So those are some of the strategies that I use for strengthening our mindset. Then the next habit is, the habit number 5 is to control our emotions by journaling. And one of the ways how I discovered journaling in my own autism mom journey, is that at the time I was already starting to run, and I was already running regularly, but I got injured. And running had become my escape. It had become my way of connecting with myself and to just detach from the chronic stress. But I could not run because I got injured. And it just happened that at the same time, we were having a lot of problems with the my son's school and the school board and all that, and I needed an outlet, and I just started writing. And that's how. And then I realized that was making me less stressed out. So that's where I started to incorporate journaling, and now I journal every day. It has become a habit. Now, what is journal? So what does journaling do? It helps us process emotions. It can help us goal setting. Journaling helps the brain regulate emotions and can be a route to stress reduction. Journaling forces us to actively engage with our thoughts and our emotions in real time. Journaling about positive experiences can boost our self-confidence and self-esteem. Journaling can also be a great tool for problem solving, goal setting, and visualization. Identify what you would like to change and what your goals are, and then from there, write a to-do list, for example, and get going. Now, some tips to help you get started on journaling. People think that they need to like a journal, a special journal with journaling prompts or anything. My journal, sometimes it's just like a notebook. So it's just write anything and everything that comes to mind. Do not censor yourself. Don't worry about spelling mistakes. Just write. And anything that comes to mind. It can be any format, notebook. It can be a journal. I've actually published a couple of journals behind me, if you see them. But it's just a matter of getting those emotions out, because when you see those emotions on paper, it has been proven by research that it reduces your stress. So journaling is a key component of my framework. Habit number 6 is to develop a passion to recharge our batteries and reduce stress. Again, research has shown that when we develop a passion or hobby, it helps us relax, distract, and detach from the daily grind. When we do something for us that brings us joy, it gives us also peace and self-fulfillment. We can do something creative, whether it's painting, photography, drawing, or passive, reading a book or listening to podcasts, or active, like walking, cycling, hiking. My passion became running, and then now my passion has become writing. So it can differ from time to time. Practicing a hobby is self-care, and at its best, because when you're intentionally carving out time to practice your hobby, you will likely get it done regularly. Now, some tips to help you find your passion is to look at your past. Are there any activities you did as a child that you loved? Find something that lights your fire. Start small. The other thing that it's important to remember, that volunteering can be a great passion. A lot of my clients actually who have gone through the being parents to special needs children, and that have gone, that have dealt with caregiver burnout, but have overcome it. Now they are starting organizations, or starting volunteering and things like that. So it's a great outlet as well. And then finally, habit number 7, and this is so important, build connections and optimize our village. This, I can tell you, for families with special needs children, it is very important to keep reminding them to build connections and to optimize their village, because of the stigma. A lot of us are isolated, and we don't want to. Sometimes we're even isolated from our own family. So it's really important to create those connections with others who are going through the same journey, journey as us. So it's very important if you have, if you have families of special needs children that you serve, to keep reminding them to build those connections and to not be isolated. Important to stay connected with family, friends via Zoom, FaceTime, phone calls. Research has been clear that we function best mentally when we create a village. And when we have special needs children, we really need a village, a portfolio of supportive people who can help us handle different emotions, different situations. And as special needs parents, we need a village. We need to incorporate those people who have specific skills and expertise to help our children and ourselves as well. It can be a child psychologist, speech therapist, occupational therapist, educators, social workers. It can be a divorce coach, for example, or someone in the financial sector who's going to be guiding us for the future of our children. So it is important that they be aware that you are part of that, of the village that is going to be supporting them. So tips to help optimize the circle of support is to look for groups, organizations, focus on things that matter to them. So, for parents of children with special needs, parent support groups, or support groups with coaches who are going to be helping them as well, joining Facebook groups of like-minded people. And very important as well, to do not remind them to do not hesitate to ask for help. Because we're always think that we can do everything ourselves, but it is important that we ask for help. It is important that we incorporate. This is one of the things that I tell my clients with special needs children, that we need to have a system. We need to have a system where we're going to have caregivers there, or educators that can be there when an emergency happens. I am a single mom, and I have to create a system of people who are there to take care of my son when I have to go to the hospital, for example. So it's very important that we remind ourselves, or we remind our clients, that they need to establish a system where they have the support is there for them. And I think that's pretty much it. So these are the H3 MJPC again. So H for boosting your health, M for moving your body. The other M is to reconnect with yourself via mindfulness. The other M is for strengthening your mindset daily. The J for journaling to process emotions. The P for finding a passion to relax and recharge. And the C is for nurturing and optimizing our circle of support. And I think that's it. So if you have any questions, please go ahead.
I think that was wonderful and very, very helpful. If someone were